If you can't be thankful for what you have, then be thankful for what you have escaped.
You are now tuning in to the Roughnecks podcast with your host, Cole Nixon. Much love.
One last thing before we get into today's episode. A lot of people ask how they can support the podcast. Well, I have a couple easy ways. The first way is just listen and subscribe. And another thing you can do is go follow the Roughnecks podcast on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube as well. If you get something out of today's show, then do me a favor. Share it with a friend. If you really want to go above and beyond to support the podcast, then head over to roughneckspodcast.com and get you some of that merch. I appreciate all of the support, but let's get into today's episode. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Roughnecks podcast. This is episode 128, where we have yet another Fast Friday. We're up to Fast Friday 17, which is crazy to think that Fast Fridays have been going on for that long, but Fast Friday 17, and to kick off Fast Fridays, you guys know the deal, longtime listeners. New listeners, we kick off Fast Fridays with announcements. Quick announcements. We have a merch drop coming up. It is November, so that means this merch drop, it's as of today when you're listening, it is 2 weeks away. November 18th, Friday, November 18th at about 7 p.m. new merch will drop, so be sure to check that out. Starting next week, I believe, end of next week, you'll start to see some previews of some of the things that will be coming out. But other thing is, we have Q&A Friday next Friday. Q&A Friday is where me and a guest sit down and answer questions from you, the fans. These questions can be literally about anything and everything. We are doing a little giveaway thing right now. I don't know if you want to call it a giveaway or a contest type, whatever you want to call it, where if you email a question over to roughneckspodcast@gmail.com before, we'll say before this, or before the episode, you are automatically entered into a giveaway, or a contest, whatever, giveaway. Yeah, we'll call it a giveaway. You're automatically entered into a giveaway. Every question that you send over, so send different questions over, and every question is another entry. So email as many questions as you can think of. And that's all the announcements we have. But today's content that I want to talk about, the stuff that I've been thinking about, you guys know how Fast Fridays go, those of you who have been listening for a while. With Fast Fridays, I usually talk about the things that they're a little more motivational, a little quick episode, but it's something that the things that have been on my mind. And one of the things that's actually really been on my mind lately is, it's a question that I've answered a few times on this podcast with guests, and on a Q&A Friday, I think is where the first time I answered it. And it was a question about what does it mean to be a man? And, I've answered it a couple different ways. The most recent episode that I answered it on was with Robbie Speaks. Awesome episodes with Robbie every time. But, the way I think I answered it that time was something about how, you have to admit when you're wrong. I feel like that's something a man has to learn to figure out. But, I mean, obviously that's not all it is to being a man. It's very it could be a very complex answer. Sometimes it can be complex. Sometimes it can be very simple. But, it's something that I've been thinking a lot recently, and I feel like as a man, we're always wondering, am I doing enough, or if we are enough, even constantly putting our own manhood in check because we never feel worthy enough and always feel like we are fucking up. Notice what I said there at the end, always feel like we are fucking up. But that's really something you have to do in life. You have to fuck up to learn. You have to make mistakes to grow. Every fuck up you make in life is an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn how to be better. We all fuck up from time to time. In our job, in our relationships, or just in life in general. You will mess up, but don't get all down. Don't throw yourself a little pity party, something I read recently in a little daily inspiration book that I have, and it said, if you can't be thankful for what you have, then be thankful for what you have escaped. Okay, Cole, I see I have it better now than I used to, but how do I get to where I want to be, where I'm grateful for what I have along with what I have escaped? And it's always the quiet work that you put in with your own two hands when no one else is watching. That can give you that 1 degree of difference between you and someone else. That's where you're going to start to grow. Spend time on what I like to call deep work. Deep work for me is like my growth time. It is where I will read a daily inspiration thing, the Bible. Recently, I've been reading the Bible a lot, journal, and then I'll read the current book I'm on at the moment. Like now, one thing I want to say about reading: if you're looking to grow, stop reading the books that are just pure entertainment. You can read those from time to time, but start reading books that will help you grow down, like help you get down that path of growth and be able to be thankful for what you have. Books like Endure by Cameron Haynes, The Law of Power, 12 Rules for Life, The Winner's Manual, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck are books that relate to the business that you want to start or the business that you're in or the goals you have in life. You don't have if you're going to sit here and tell me, oh, I don't have time to read every day. I don't have time to read. 10 pages. 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day is not that hard to do. Right before you go to bed, instead of scrolling for an hour, why don't you just grab the book, read 10 pages, put it up. And what you'll find is you'll read a chapter a night instead. You'll read 2 chapters some nights. Then it might be 2 chapters a night. You'll start to pick up on the habit of reading. If you start reading 10 pages a day consistently, consistency is the key here. Consistently, it becomes like a second nature, and you'll realize, we all, if you have an iPhone, you get that screen time. The weeks that I read a lot more, I notice my screen time is down because I'm not sitting on my phone for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half hour, an hour every night, scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're on. That's not helping you grow. There's 2 different ways you can take media or like social media and stuff. You can be, an absorber. You can learn from it, or you're just scrolling. You can use it as business or entertainment. There is a difference. You can't, and it's easy to get caught in the entertainment part. I'm not saying you can't spend time on social media, scrolling for a little bit, but we spend too much time. I'm guilty of this as well. But we spend too much time. Start reading 10 pages a day. It's not that hard. Another thing is podcast. There's plenty of great podcasts out there related in, something related in the field or something. Find something that can help you grow, something that you will learn from. Joe Rogan, Real AF, Jocko. This podcast. Just kidding. That's not as good as those other ones, but it's true. Like, just listen. The people that I have on here, I learn from so much. You're going to make mistakes in life. You're going to fuck it all up. But that's part of learning. That's part of growing. You have to fuck it all up sometimes to be able to grow. Life is a roller coaster. It's something I've been, writing about in my journal recently a lot. You're going to have ups and downs. That's part of life. That's how it works. You're not going to have a straight path. There is no such thing as a straight path to success. You're going to fuck it up. You have to have lows to have a high. You have to have a low to even know what a high is. So just keep at it. Keep going. That's all I got for you guys today. Don't forget, merch drop, 2 weeks. Also, questions, email them in to roughneckspodcast@gmail.com to be entered into a giveaway. But that's all I got for you guys today. And you guys know the deal. Life is hard. It's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. Don't let that bull of life walk all over you. Get up, grab the bull by the horns, and take control of your life. Roughnecks, out. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. If you like today's episode, then be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with a friend if you got some value from it. Head over to social media and follow the Roughnecks Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Don't forget to get you some of that merch by heading over to roughneckspodcast.com and subscribe to the newsletter while you're there. See y'all next week. Roughnecks out.